Hello everybody and welcome. It's me, your favourite Plague Doctor and DM for the day, Hollow. So I hear you want to create a character for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, but want to be guided through the process. Well, I've got you covered. Today's video is going to help any new or even experienced players who need a little reminder on certain parts of how to make a character in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. We're going to go through this process step by step, so feel free to pause between each step and go do that section on your own sheet. Now, the order of this may not fully reflect the player handbook's version or even D&D Beyond's. I've got my own way of doing things, but I will be covering almost everything you need, I assure you of that much. First, before we begin, if you already know what kind of character you want to play, brilliant. If not, no worries. This method I present lets you decide that as you go along, so don't worry about rushing through everything. Today, I'll be guiding my slime companion and yourselves through character creation. Step 1. Attributes. The first step we take is to roll up the foundations of your character, that being the ability scores. Now, I hear you. Hollow, you're crazy. A lot of places say race and class first. Yeah, I know, but I always find this method to be a bit more fun. What are the 6 ability scores? So they are your core stats that govern a part of your modifier on skills and attacks and saves. They are your natural abilities that form the foundation of your sheet that we will go through and add as we go. The attributes of D&D 5th edition are strength, which governs how strong you are and how hard you hit things. Dexterity, how quick and nimble you are. Constitution, how healthy you are. Wisdom, how smart and perceptive you are. Charisma, how charming you are. Intelligence, how intellectual and educated you are. These are vague descriptions, and your DM and even yourself may interpret them differently. You may determine that your character's score means something else to you, and that's all good. To get your ability scores, there are a few methods. The first method is rolling. You take 4 6-sided dice, or D6 as they are known, and roll them all. You discard the lowest number you roll, add them together, and boom, there's your score. Repeat this process until you have 6 numbers, and then place them where you would like in your character sheet. The second method is the one I use more often, which is to use a standard array. This offers a fair spread of stats and ensures there's no player super weak or super strong. Everyone ends up around equal, and I personally use this for newer groups to lessen the math that they have to deal with and rolling needed at generation. The standard array for D&D 5th Ed is 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. This offers some heavy strengths and some weaknesses to characters and offers some nice RP possibilities as well. The third and final way is to use points buy. This method allows you to assign a number of points, usually set by your DM, and then to buy points to add to your ability scores. If you use this method in your game, make sure to ask your DM which method they are using and what the costs are, as this is very important. A lot of folks don't follow the player handbook's version of costs on this out of personal experience, so just make sure to cover your back and check what it is that they want you to do. Now that we have all our attributes rolled up with one of these methods, we can move on. At this stage, I usually work out the modifier. There's a handy table right here for how mod scores work. Pause the video and calculate your own. Or if you're on Roll20 and D&D Beyond, no need, it does it for you. We can move right on to our next step. Step 2, race. The next step is to select a race from the available options given to you by your DM in the campaign brief. If you didn't get one of these, that's fine, just ask which races they accept for their game to be safe. If you're in Adventurers League, however, there is a handy-dandy list online that states the current legal AL races, so check that out. For this example, my slime here has decided they want to play a bright green tiefling. First up, we look up tiefling as a race, and we take a peek at what the race gives you. Ability score increase. Your intelligence score increases by 1 and your charisma score increases by 2. So you add 1 to your base score of your attribute, and then 2 to charisma. Age. Tieflings mature at the same rate as humans, but live a few years longer, so for this one our slimes decided they're going to go with a solid 42 years old. Alignment. Tieflings might not have an innate tendency towards evil, but many of them end up there. Evil or not, an independent nature inclines many tieflings towards a chaotic alignment. Now, this section is not so much something I really ever pay attention to. If you, however, want to use this to guide your way of playing, you certainly can. There's nothing wrong with that. But in general, I'd say to ignore alignment suggestions and play them however you like. They can be a bit restricting. Size. Tieflings are about the same size and build as humans. Your size is medium. That makes sense. We're about the same size as a human. Great. Speed. Your base walking speed is 30 foot. This is the normal average for movement speed. Next up, we move on to the cool features you get for being a tiefling, and we pop these in the features section on your sheet. The first one we get is dark vision, which basically allows us to see in the dark without torches. It gives you details in the actual block, which tells you you can see in dim light within 60 foot of you as if it were in bright light, and in darkness as if it were in dim light. In addition, you also can't discern colour in darkness, only shades of grey, which is something to remember when you're sort of describing things you see to other players. It can be quite a cool little bit of flavour. Hellish resistance. You have resistance to fire damage. You half any fire damage that hits you. That's what resistance means in short. Infernal Legacy. To save on complicating this, as this is quite the block of confusing text for some people, at level 1, you add the Thaumaturgy, level 0 spell, that's also known as a cantrip, to your spells list. Search this up and add it to your list of spells known. You can use cantrips over and over and over again as much as you like. When you hit 3rd level, you get the Hellish Rebuke spell to your list, and on the 5th level you get Darkness. A long rest that's mentioned in this section basically means you need to have a good night of sleep, a good 8 hours of rest before you get those abilities back. All of these abilities, make sure to use your Charisma modifier, that's the small box next to the attribute, as their spellcasting ability. Languages. You can speak, read and write Common and Infernal. Add these to your sheet. This is the same process for all races, no matter what it is you're playing. It will have these blocks that tell you exactly what you get, what you need to change, and what you need to add to your sheet. However, each of them is individual, so I'd make sure to have a read of them and just make sure you understand what's being said in the boxes. If you don't, ask your DM, or just comment below in the comment section and I'll do my best to help you whenever I can. Step 3. Class. So you have your attributes and your race. At this stage, you're pretty much ready to choose a class. Now, if you came into this video with an idea of what you were going to play, brilliant. You'll already have your attributes lined up just about where you want them to be. But if you didn't, and you're only just deciding, then I'd say to make sure that you change around the attributes to whatever you need based on what class you pick, if you want to. It's not needed. You can totally be a barbarian with high dexterity and no strength. That's completely fine. One thing to remember, however, is if you applied your racial modifiers to any ability scores, remember where they are so that you can change them to whatever it is you need and add them and take them away from the ones that you change. Once you're happy with these, take a look over the classes available to you. There's 12 classes in the base game. These are Barbarian, Fighter, Rogue, Monk, Wizard, Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock, Druid, Ranger, Cleric, and finally, Paladin. Each of these has their own individual flavor that you can use, from the martial experts that are fighters to the creepy pact-making warlock. I suggest at this stage you pause the video and you take a look over the classes available in your player's handbook or through whatever digital place you're looking at them. I'll wait. Okay, welcome back. So while you were away, my slime selected Bard, because they're a musical sort of creature, and they like both spellcasting and kicking ass in equal measure. Follow along with how we go about adding a class to our new character. So as we look at the class, we have a few things to go through. First up, the section on hit dice. A hit dice is the amount of health you get with your class per level. At level 1, you take what the section says. In the case of Bard, that is 8, plus my Constitution modifier. Ask your DM if they want you to roll for HP after level 1. If so, roll the dice it says every time you level up, and add that number to your HP. Remember, Each level you also gain your constitution modifier to it. So let's say as a bard, I'm going to level 2 and I roll a d8. I get a 6, and my con mod is, let's say 2. That's 6 plus 2 equals 8. I add 8 to my HP. Brilliant. Alternatively, you may also be told to just take the maximum amount, in which case you can take the maximum number shown on the dice. Next up is your proficiency bonus. It's listed in the handy-dandy table along with all the info you need on what you gain each level. The proficiency modifier changes as your class levels up and is added to attack rolls using weapons you're proficient with, attack rolls when you cast spells, ability checks using skills you're proficient in, ability checks using tools you're proficient with, saving throws you're proficient in, and saving throws for DCs of spells that you cast. Add this to your sheet in the proficiency bonus box. Next, we should take note of your equipment proficiency to make sure you know what it is you can wear and make use of with your class. These determine what you can use effectively thanks to your training in your class. Under your class in the book, you'll also see a selection of skills offered for you to choose. These basically mean what skills are you trained in and what are you good at. Select your skills and make sure to note them as being proficient. You add your proficiency modifier plus the relevant ability score mod to these skills. All of the rest just gain your ability score mod. Finally, in this section, make sure you do the same as above with your saves. It will let you know which ones you're proficient in, and the calculation of these saves works the exact same as skills, your ability score mod plus proficiency. Next up is adding your class features to your sheet. You'll find the ones that you need listed in the class table just in the level you're at. In this case, as you can see, it's Bardic Inspiration and Spellcasting. So we give those a read, and then we add them to our sheet under Features. Take your time to go through and read your class features over and get an idea of what they mean to you and what you can do. If you're a spellcasting class, make sure you read the text provided as to how you calculate your spell slots and uses. In addition to this, the table will let you know how many spells you know. Take your time to understand this and prepare to update your sheet. Unless you're on Roll20, in which case it's already calculated. You can select spells from your class spell list provided in the player's handbook. Finally, you should make sure you look over the equipment listed under this section and add that to your sheet in the relevant sections. Just choose from each of the options in each section. You can search up details for them and add them to your sheet in your own time. I suggest you look over the options and choose what you find will be cool for your character. Or in the case of Roll20, you just drag and drop them down onto your sheet from the compendium, and it's all there. Step 4, background and personality. Next, you need to choose a background. This shows what your character has done in their past, be it a profession, unfortunate loss, dramatic event, or heroic deed. This background is not the only thing they've ever done in their life. You can always flesh this out in a backstory or discussion with your DM, but it's something that has had significant impact on what has formed a part of your history. Look through the backgrounds available for your game and choose one that's suitable. In the case of our bardling, the slime has chosen the soldier background, so it seems our bard is an ex-soldier turned adventuring bard. So let's take a look at what the soldier background gives us. We gain additional skill proficiencies in athletics and intimidation. We gain tool proficiencies in one type of gaming set and land vehicles. We get no languages. And for an equipment, we get an insignia of rank, a trophy taken from a fallen enemy, a bone dice set or deck of cards, a set of common clothes, and a belt pouch containing 10 gold pieces. Brilliant. Additionally, we get 2 features with this. Add each of these features listed to your sheet. In some backgrounds it's only 1, in others it's 2. Just take a good read of your background. And then finally we go to the bit that's a bit more fun and interesting. Each background has some tables listed for personality traits, flaws, bonds, and ideals. Now these aren't the only thing about your character that you have, and the way I normally do it is that I roll twice on each of these tables and pick the one that I like the most, and then I go back through and write one of my own that's completely custom. It gives you some interesting quirks, and if you do it in this random way and you're a little unsure on how your character's going to be, it can really help to form those ideas in your head, so I heavily suggest doing this. Once you've added these features and backgrounds and done all these roles, your character's pretty much ready to go. So finally, our bardling needs to be named. Post your favourite name for them in the comments below, as our slime is a little bit indecisive as to what to name them. I may do a follow-up investigating more rules further and going deeper into each sections as needed for people and what you think would be useful and helpful for you. Thank you for watching this video on how to make a D&D character. I hope you've enjoyed it and hopefully this helped you out. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot, and fingers crossed we can keep growing and bringing you more content in the future. In addition to this, if you want to support me further in making these videos, you can find me on Patreon at patreon.com/hollowtale, where you can get behind the scenes updates, shoutouts at the end of videos, and exclusive audio versions of select videos as well. In addition to this, I may be making quick audio versions of certain streams I run on my Twitch channel, available there as audio only as well. Before leaving the video today, I want to shout out my $5 plus patrons who have all supported me in creating more videos throughout this month. That would be David Hartley, Derek Burge at the Mimic tier, and at the Plague Doctor tier we have Sever Rayton. I would also like to thank every patron that has supported me so far. Even $1 really helps out, and you're all brilliant. Until next time, I hope this video has helped you, and I hope you begin to forge your own stories and adventures with your own friends